Hey guys, it's Samantha. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a January wrap-up. I started 8 books this month, but I only actually finished 5, mainly because I'm still reading 2 and I DNF'd 1. So I'm going to start by talking about the one I DNF'd, and then I'll tell you about the ones I finished, and then what I'm still reading. So the book I DNF'd was Only the Ocean by Natasha Carthew. So basically the plot of this book is a girl called Kel wants to get to America to get heart surgery, and to do this she needs money. So to get this money she plans to kidnap a ship captain's daughter and swap the girl for money. And she brings along a baby with her baby, and basically these two girls and the baby get stuck at sea, and it's basically just about their survival, which sounds really good, only it's not. The writing style was not for me. I think it was a stylistic choice, but the author didn't really use commas, and that really bugged me. There were so many long run-on sentences with no pauses, so you just couldn't, or I couldn't make sense of what I was reading. And when I eventually kind of got over that style, it just dragged a bit. There wasn't really much happening, and I felt like the character development wasn't strong enough for me to care what was happening to them. So unfortunately it just wasn't for me, and I think I DNF'd about 40% of the way through. So I tried, but I just couldn't finish it. So the first book I actually read this month was The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Wow. This book was crazy. I gave it 4 stars, mainly because it was really good, but it just didn't live up to some of my favourites. However, I really enjoyed this book. It was so good, and it was a really cool principle. I'd never really seen anything like it before. For those of you that don't know, it basically follows the main character who wakes up in a different body every day, trying to figure out who killed Evelyn Hardcastle. Her murder didn't look like a murder, so they got away with it, and now the main character is going back in time, essentially, and reliving the day through different guests, trying to figure out what happened. And it was so good. It really was. It was just such a cool new perspective, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So it was a great start to the year and a great start to the month. The second book I read was the second book in the Harry Potter series, which is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Again, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, because again I really enjoyed it, but I didn't like it as much as my favourites. I'm really liking the Harry Potter series so far. I've only read the first 2, but I am planning on maybe starting the 3rd this month. For those of you that don't know, this is my first time reading the series, so I'm starting kind of late, but you know what? I'm really enjoying it. It's really good. So yeah, I think I might try and get to the 3rd book this month. Now, the next 3 books that I read this month, I didn't actually read them, I listened to them because I got them on Audible. I started back at uni this month, and I just don't have time to sit and read physical books. It's so much easier for me to listen to things whilst I'm walking to uni or eating lunch or that kind of thing. So everything else I've read, I've actually completed on Audible. So the first book was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Now, I didn't actually know that this was a book. I've seen the movie so many times and I really loved it when I was younger, but I just didn't know it was a book first, and I'm glad that I found out because it was really enjoyable. Again, I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, so I had a really good reading month because they were all pretty much 4 star reads. And yeah, it was just really good. It was so nice to find out like little extra bits that weren't in the movie and just get a new sort of perspective on things. And I'm glad that I finally finished one of Neil Gaiman's books because I tried reading the Graveyard Book when I was younger and just didn't enjoy it, and I DNF'd it. But I'd maybe try going back to it now that I'm older and I've read one of his other books and liked it. But yeah, no, it was just a really enjoyable read and it was a nice little short fantasy, and yeah, I just really liked it. So the fourth book I read this month was Sadie by Courtney Summers. Oh my god. Wow, I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. I'm so glad I listened to it because I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much in the physical form because the way it's written really lends itself to an audiobook. For those of you that don't know what it's about, it follows 2 perspectives. One of them is a journalist who does like podcasts, hence why it works best as an audiobook, I think. And the journalist is essentially trying to find out where Sadie's gone because she's gone missing. And the second perspective is from Sadie herself, following her whilst she tries to hunt down the person she thinks murdered her sister. And it was so good. It just had me hooked straight away. I listened to it in about a day. I just really, really loved it. It was so good. The character building was great. The format was really cool as well. And it just, yeah, it was so, so good. The only thing I didn't like, well, I wouldn't even say I didn't like it. I just wasn't as keen on the ending. I wouldn't really call it a cliffhanger, I'd just say that it's kind of unresolved. You just kind of have to come to your own conclusion as to what happened. But to be honest, I think I kind of liked that because realistically, with the sort of cases they're talking about, like for example her sister's murder and Sadie going missing, sometimes in real life these cases aren't solved, and I really liked that it didn't totally solve it because it's more realistic. So I really liked that, and I liked, although it kind of bugged me when I finished it and I was like, well no, I need to know what happened. I really did actually like the fact that I was kind of able to come to my own conclusion and that it was very realistic. So 5 out of 5 star read for me, and yeah, possibly making its way onto my favourites list. And then the final book that I finished this month was City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is actually the first book I've read by her. I want to read so many of them, I've just not really got the chance. But I went for City of Ghosts first because it was so short. It really lended itself to just a quick one-day listen. So yeah, I really enjoyed it though. Yeah, I feel like it kind of, I felt like it was aimed at middle grade, but it didn't really come across too much that way. And I like the fact that it's kind of a fantasy, but also like a thriller almost. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I would say it could improve on was the character building of Jacob. I know that Cassie is like the main focus, but I don't know, I just want to know a little bit more about him. I do plan on reading the second book when it comes out, so I don't know, maybe we learn more about him then, but I just would have liked to know a little bit more. So yeah, I think other than that it was really, really good, and it was a nice quick read, so it was a good way to finish off the month, I think. So that's all the books I finished this month. I did start Shadow and Bone and Strange the Dreamer. Unfortunately I'm not really liking Strange the Dreamer, and I might DNF it in February. I don't want to. I hate DNFing books. I feel like it's a waste of time. But I'm about halfway through at this point and not really enjoying it. My friend has told me to stick with it because apparently it does get better. But I just feel like it's far too long, like there's a lot of waffle in there that just doesn't need to be there, and the plot could move a lot faster if they took it out. But other than that, it's quite good. Like, I feel quite attached to the characters. Their character building is great. I kind of want to see what happens because I am kind of invested now, but at the same time I keep getting quite bored, so I don't know, we'll see. I might read it, but I guess we'll find out at the end of February. And I started Shadow and Bone. I do want to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy so that I can read King of Scars, but I'm not liking it as much as the Six of Crows duology. Don't get me wrong, it's still good. I'd maybe give it 3 stars at this point, but yeah, I'm just not enjoying it as much. Like, I'm not as immersed in it, which I think is why I've kind of picked it up and left it again. So yeah, I am enjoying it though, so I probably will finish it in February, and I think I'm about 40% of the way through, so I aim to finish that in February, but yes, it's not quite finished yet. So yeah, that was my January wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!